So with that, I will hand things over to our speakers.
Thank you very much, Kelly, and greetings, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. As Kelly mentioned, we are here to talk today about our partnership with LawToolBox. Firm Manager and LawToolBox have been working together to bring this to you for quite some time. We did make an announcement during New York Legal Tech about this, and we're real excited to be working together. As the invitation announced during this time, Carol Lynn is going to give you a demonstration of what LawToolBox is, show you how it calculates court deadlines and monitors rule changes so that you'll know about them, tracks who edited what deadline, and can even sync with Microsoft Outlook. We're also going to be talking about how we are making this a benefit for you, the Firm Manager subscribers, and how you can use LawToolBox at a really special price point for all LexisNexis Firm Manager subscribers, and then also how we're going to be integrating with the product going forward. A little bit about Carol Lynn. She's been heading up sales and marketing for LawToolBox for over 13 years, has a lot of experience working with law firms and partners in building this really effective rule-based deadline system that really helps you to stay on top of your deadlines, make sure you don't miss any. The client base of thousands of users with LawToolBox are now managing over 100,000 matters. The integration between LawToolBox and Firm Manager is just natural because we have these, we have solo and small firm attorneys who, in many cases, are litigators keeping track of fairly complex litigation. And this allows you, in keeping with the philosophy of Firm Manager, to easily and delightfully stay on top of all the information about your cases, including the deadlines, and be able to communicate those effectively to your clients. Without further ado, I'll bring Carol Lynn up, and she can begin to show you a little bit about LawToolBox. And at the end of this, we will have plenty of time for Q&A. But Carolyn, welcome aboard.
Great. Thank you, Chris. So LawToolBox is a big law solution available to small firms through our centralized cloud-based docketing system. Basically, it allows you to automate the calculation of your deadlines and reminders in a systematic, repeatable format, regardless of whether you have a new associate or new paralegal that's just joined you and tasked with helping you manage your deadlines and rule changes. So with that, I'm going to just pop over to www.lawtoolbox.com, and I'm going to start over here on this screen, and we're going to be demoing for you today our court rule sets. So these are the rule sets that we offer them nationwide, and we allow you to automatically generate state and federal court litigation deadlines on our system through this list of rule sets. Now, we also provide the ability for firms to build their own rule sets based on their specialty practice, or, for example, for a transactional attorney. So we'll touch briefly on that, but we'll focus on the court rules today. And with that, I am going to start by just showing you how you can log in and start docketing on LawToolBox. And then I will wrap up with a quick overview of how we can synchronize into Outlook. I'll talk briefly about our special offer pricing that we're offering for manager subscribers. And then we'll finish up with showing you how you can go and create your own free trial account for your manager subscription. Okay, so to access LawToolBox, it's all in the cloud, so all you need to do is go to www.lawtoolbox.com and click Client Logon from any device you have. You just enter your user ID and password here. Now, if you happen to be an Outlook user, we also provide a new toolbar add-in that allows you to access your court deadlines from right inside of your Outlook. Down here you can see our new app for Office 365, and I'll just briefly touch on that. But any version of Outlook allows you to click on court deadlines, and you can just pop open your LawToolBox account. The very first time you do need to enter your user ID and password, and then from that point on, you're able to just jump right into your LawToolBox. So when you open your LawToolBox in the cloud, the first thing you see is a list of calendars. A small law firm is probably just going to have their firm calendar and then a list of the attorneys and support staff, but larger organizations can create different kinds of customer calendars or group calendars as well. So we're going to start by selecting an attorney. I'm going to choose Lauren Wild. When I click Open, I see a list of her cases, and we're going to start by showing you how to create a lawsuit on our system by clicking Set Up Case in the top left corner. Now, the software recognizes that Lauren is a Wisconsin litigator, so it's offering up rule sets for Wisconsin. Now, I can go ahead and choose any rule set that we offer in the country. So let's say, for example, that we have a case today that's a California matter. I'm going to go ahead and start by naming the case. So we'll say that this is ABC versus Smith 2. And I will then choose the rule set. So for our example today, we'll choose LA County Superior Court. And then when we click Next Step, we select whether we represent the plaintiff or defendant. The case number is the court's case number. That's an optional field. You can keep it there for record keeping. We are required to choose the county once again on this screen. And we can see that email reminders are enabled for Lauren, and in a moment we'll be able to add additional users to the case on the final step of setting up a case. So underneath where we can see the nickname for our case, we can enter the matter number. And for firm manager clients, you might want to enter your firm manager customer ID. And so that might look something like this. And then for client name, of course, you usually can tell who that is. Most of our clients leave that empty, as well as the client number. Expedited case setup is always going to be pre-selected for you, and it allows you to skip over our document assembly system, so you can go straight to docketing. We see a license agreement that does pop up once in the life of each case. It's inserted in the pricing that we provide, so you'll get a copy of that. But you do need to click I accept once in the life of each case. And on the last step is where you're just going to select the users that are involved in the case, and this can change at any point in time. So we'll say the firm calendar, for example, and we'll say that Bart is the associate on the case, and then Amelia is the support person. So we want all of those folks to get all of the reminders for the case. Now we're looking at a deadline chart. Of course, we don't have any deadlines yet, so we're going to go right to trigger dates. The product is super simple. All you really need to do is remember those two links. When I come to trigger dates, on this screen, all I'm really going to be using is this link at the top. This is the quick input link for all of your primary dates, as well as a couple of these over here, and I'll just briefly show those to you. So when we click on quick input, this is where we see a listing of all of the dates that are going to be triggering our deadlines from beginning to end. The top two are just record-keeping dates, and it really all begins with the date that the action commences. So we're going to say that our case is commencing last Monday. That's when we filed the complaint. And we don't have an amended complaint. If we do hover it over it, we can see some descriptive language telling us exactly what we mean there. But we're going to jump right on down to the date of service. And we're going to say that that's happening today. So we filed the complaint last week, and today is when we're serving the complaint. And as you can see, we can select how that service occurred, so that we only get the deadlines that apply for this particular, the deadlines that are affected by how we've served the complaint. And as I scroll down, you can see that we display the dates that are needed to docket your deadlines in a chronological listing. So it kind of guides the user through the process. And of course, case management order dates are fill in the blank. And then we'll see trial date and some post-judgment at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and click Save Changes. The software is recording who added or edited this deadline and when they did that, so that we can keep track of that for later. And the next thing we'll do is just go ahead and take a peek to see what deadlines we have here on the deadline chart. Let me just click that again. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click over here on deadline chart. And here what we see is a list of all of the deadlines that the software has generated for us. The deadlines are currently in a longer description type format, and typically our clients like to change the default view once they're familiar with what exactly we mean by a deadline to what we call the summarized view. So we're looking at our deadlines, and the first thing I'm going to show you is how you can edit a deadline to reflect an order. in all cases, there are always deadlines that are getting modified by orders. So we're going to say that this is per an order that we got in the mail today. So per 3/17/2014 order. And we're going to say that we got an extra week. So this isn't due on 4/16, it's due on 4/23. When I click Save Changes, the system hides the rule-driven deadline at the bottom of the deadline chart, so we know we've modified that date. And it replaces it with my hand-entered date here. Now, if I wanted to generate a Word version of my deadline chart, I would just click Download Deadline Chart and Open. And I can now email this to a client or an attorney to view the deadlines. Okay, so that's the deadline chart. That's where we edit deadlines. We're going to pop over here to Trigger Dates, and I'll just briefly show you a couple of these features. The first one is Miscellaneous. Even though when I click Show All, I haven't been here today, I see that one of the deadlines that I modified on the deadline chart appears here. That's because LawToolBox has determined that anything you edit is your own miscellaneous hand-entered date, and we record it here for your record keeping. And you can add any old dates that you need to, that you would like to on the miscellaneous page. So we're going to say that also per this 3/17/2014 order, we got something in the mail that said that we have something due on 4/12/2014. And in the same order, we're going to just pretend that down below we need to docket that XYZ is due, and in this case XYZ is going to be due hearing minus 100 days. And so we might say, for example, that we have a hearing on 6/15 or 6/16/2014, and when I enter minus 100, it is going to calculate that date for me. So when I click Save Changes, now I have 3 dates, and all of those dates are going to appear over here on my deadline chart. On this right-hand side of the page, one other real quick feature I'll show you is the motions and hearings. I'm going to say that I'm filing a motion called ABC motion. I enter the date, I enter my description, and I could have 20, 30 motions for my cases, certain types of cases, depending on the type of case. I can enter the date that the motion was served, but I know that in California, all of my deadlines run off of the all-important hearing date. So we're just going to say that we have a hearing. I'm going to go ahead and say that my hearing is on 3/24/2014. And when I click Save Changes, I can see my motion listed here, and I'll see all the other 20 listed chronologically below. And all these calculators you see on the right side of the screen behave in the same way. If you've got multiple complaints that you're tracking with all different parties and so on and so forth. So let's pop over here to the deadline chart. I see all of my deadlines. On my deadline chart, all of my motions are listed here as well. And now we'll take a look at a few reports. So first thing I'm going to do is pop over here to Home, and I'll show you the Friday report to begin with. This is a report that allows you to see what are all your deadlines coming up for the next week. So I'll start by clicking Email, because while I'm looking at it, I think I'm going to just go ahead and send this to a couple of folks. So when I click Send, it sends them an email, and at the same time I get to see a list of everything coming up. I see the lead attorney and who those particular deadlines were shared to. So that's what we call the Friday report, and typically our clients will have that report set to view for the next 14 days. We also have another report called Litigation Reports, and instead of hopping in here, I'm going to go ahead and choose another user so you can see how you can manage an entire law firm here. I could go and look at the firm calendar, but I'm going to pop over here to Mary White and say, okay, well, what's going on for Mary White today? So if I click Open, I can see that she doesn't have any deadlines coming up. So that's kind of interesting for me. I'm going to pop over to the litigation report and look at her milestone report to see at a bird's eye what's going on for her. And I can see here, well, you know what, she had a few cases that were recently set for trial, and they have just resolved. So her schedule's kind of changed a little bit, and there's some opportunities there as well. Okay, so that's what the Friday report is all about. I'm going to pop over back to Lauren and show you a couple more features, and then we'll look at our Sync to Outlook and wrap up. So I'm going to just pop over here to a particular case, and one of the features that was referenced a moment ago is our history, the ability to view who edited what deadline and when. So when I open the history for a case, I can see that this particular case was reset for trial. It was originally set in 2012 and it's been changed 4 times. So that's where you can view who edited what deadline and when. Another feature that I'll briefly show you is the ability to build your own rule sets. That can be done from within a case or as a standalone rule set. And it all resides here under the Advanced feature. When we click Manage Templates, we have the ability to enter any kind of a trigger date and then start adding deadlines. And we can modify these as we go. We enter the number of days that we're calculating the deadlines and how we want to calculate those. And if we have an order or a URL, we can reference those and then save our deadline template here and make it available based on 3 different statuses. So that's just a quick overview, and we invite you to learn more about that one as well later. And so now I think what I've showed you so far is our cloud-based docketing solution. I'll just wrap up very briefly with our Sync to Outlook solutions, and then we'll look at pricing very briefly. Okay, so here is a view, and I'll just blow this up so you can see it a little bit. We offer a Sync to Outlook solution so that all the docketing, if you happen to be using Outlook, all the docketing that's done in LawToolBox and everything that I showed you up until now, you can also see those deadlines in the calendar. This is a 30-day view of the calendar, and as you can see the name of the case, the deadline description, and the due date, and a default setting here to see your deadline reminders popping up at you 3 days before each deadline. But you can select how those deadlines go into your Outlook in almost any format that you can imagine. You can, of course, enter your depots to occur at 2 o'clock, for example, and go until 5. And then you'll see your deadlines up at the top of the day in the all-day view format. And you also have the ability to set your deadlines to synchronize into your task list. So here's a user that's chosen to see their deadlines as a reminder 14 days before their deadlines in the task list. But you could also have a user that says, I need to manage my deadlines as a task entry, and see the deadlines in that format as well. So the ability to synchronize into Outlook is an optional service that many of our clients do use, but we have plenty of firms that are just using the cloud-based solution that I showed you a moment ago. If you, I won't cover it, but I will just briefly mention that we've recently developed an app for Office 365 and Outlook 2013. So as you consider moving into a new version of Outlook, this is an app that's also available for you there. So to wrap up, I've just pulled up the pricing that we are offering as a special offer for firm manager subscribers. And this pricing allows firms to set up new matters at a discounted rate of $39 if you're a firm manager subscriber. Normally the rate is $49. So during the first 2 weeks, you can set up as many cases as you'd like at the discounted rate, and then after the first 2 weeks, the rate goes to $59, again, $10 less than what we normally offer. If you're using the Build Your Own Calculator fee, the Build Your Own Calculator service, then the fee is much less because we're not automating those rules for you. So our clients typically that are using our cloud-based solution are not paying any out-of-pocket costs because they are passing those costs along to their client as a one-time per lawsuit fee. And many malpractice providers even provide discounts for their malpractice based on the redundancies that our deadline system provides for them. So it's a win-win for the litigator and the litigant from a pricing standpoint, and savings in terms of time and energy and avoidance of missed deadlines. So in order to get started on a free trial of LawToolBox, you would just go to Firm Manager /LawToolBox, and that will take you to this screen, and you can see an overview of what's involved. But at the bottom, you can just click on Sign Up, and that will take you to this screen where you can click on the sign up link here or here. Both of them will take you to a page where you create a free trial account. And during your free trial, you may set up a lawsuit and generate the deadlines for that lawsuit for free. And you may also use our build your own calculator for as many matters as you'd like for your free 1-month trial. So with that, I know I went a little bit longer than expected, but we've got 10 minutes left for Q&A, so I'll just pause for a moment and let you take it over, Kelly.
Great, thanks, Carolyn. So as Carolyn mentioned, we'll open things up for Q&A, so please submit any questions you have via the questions pane on the control panel there.
Great, and thank you so much. And Carolyn, just to clarify, I think just because Firm Manager subscribers and the folks on this call are probably used to the fact that Firm Manager is a monthly subscription, I did want to clarify that the pricing with the LawToolBox solution for automated calendaring is per matter one time. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. It is a one-time per lawsuit fee, and our clients pass that fee through to their clients.
Right. Yeah. So what I mean, I think the thing to take away here is that for your $45 a month Firm Manager subscription, you're getting $10 per lawsuit off. So if you open up 4 lawsuits in a case, it basically makes Firm Manager free, and you get this great discount going forward with LawToolBox. That's really neat. And if anybody attended the sneak peek last week, you'll remember that we sneak peeked our Google Calendar sync. And just without going into that too deeply, because that's not what this sneak peek is about, but if you saw that LawToolBox synchronizes with Office 365 and Outlook, and you know that Google also synchronizes with Office 365 or Outlook, you can start to see how getting these calendar dates into Firm Manager will be something that you can do in the short term. And then over the longer term, what's really exciting is that we're going to actually be building a tighter integration where you'll be able to do a lot of the LawToolBox activities inside the Firm Manager application and on the Firm Manager calendar. So that's just a little bit of an idea of what we've got planned going forward. And I just wanted to clarify those couple of points. But excellent presentation, Carolyn. Thanks so much. So far, we don't have any questions from our users, so you must have done an outstanding job of demoing this. I'd love to hear from some folks as to whether or not this is something interesting for them, and you can either do that through the question and answer pane or send us an email separately. But we're really, really excited to be able to bring this level of automatic calendar or automated calendar and docketing to the Firm Manager users. We've been hearing a lot of requests for it, and real excited to be able to bring it to our users. The question from Matthew Martin is, when will the integration with Firm Manager occur? And that's a great question. We don't pre-release integrations too far in advance. So let me answer the question this way. We're going to be integrating with LawToolBox in a variety of ways during the course of this year. So we're going to be integrating with them by synchronizing our calendars with the calendars that they work with, i.e. Office 365 and Google. And we'll also be building in some integration into Firm Manager since we are both cloud-based applications. You can expect a lot of that to happen this year, but it's never going to stop. We're going to continue building the integration tighter and tighter and tighter over time. But we start, as usual, with this partnership where you can get really great pricing discounts, and then we can start to work with you on how to integrate it with Firm Manager even as soon as the Google Calendar sync is out in about 3 or 4 weeks. Danielle asks us a question, where can we email our comments? If you prefer to email them, please feel free to email them to firmmanager@lexisnexis.com. That's firmmanager@lexisnexis.com, and we'll be glad to, if there's something that I can answer, the folks who monitor that mailbox will send them to me. If we need to send them on to Carolyn Bro, we'll be glad to send them on to her so LawToolBox can answer them. But again, firmmanager@lexisnexis.com. We'll be glad to receive your comments there if you don't want to ask a question here online. I don't have any other questions, so unless somebody shoots one in while I close, I will just simply close by saying thank you very much to Carolyn for bringing our users up to date on this great new LawToolBox capability, both outside and inside Firm Manager, and this great discount that our users can access just by being Firm Manager customers. So thank you very much, Carolyn.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chris. And I will just mention that if anybody has questions, and they can always email them to support@lawtoolbox.com if you have questions about court deadlines. And we also offer a 10-minute demo if you're interested in getting a walkthrough on generating court deadlines for your particular jurisdiction. So always feel free to request a 10-minute demo to that same email address.
Great. Thanks again. And with that, we'll go ahead and sign off. Thank you all for attending. I'll look forward to speaking to you on our next